Centiskorch VMAX seems to be one of the best cards from Darkness Ablaze, and let's take a look at another version of the deck. This time, it's Stefan Ivanov's Salazzle Centiskorch. Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at yet another version of Centiskorch. This time, it is an ability-based version. Comes hot off the presses from Stefan Ivanov. He has posted this list on his Twitter. I was talking about it a little bit, so I thought that I'd give it a couple of games. If you want to check out his tweet, it's down below, as well as the list that we will be looking at today. Thank you very much for everyone coming along. Again, we always appreciate your company. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and like the video as well. But before we go into some gameplay with this, let's jump into PTCGO and see how this deck is going to work. So here it is, the 60 cards that we are going to be playing with today, and it is a pretty simple prospect. Ultimately, we have our 3-3 line of Centiskorch VMAX as our main attacker. This is going to be the focal point of the deck. We want to get as many fire energies attached to Centiskorch as possible. G-Max Centinferno for 2 colorless energy does 40, plus 40 for every fire energy attached. So if we've got 2 fire energy attached to meet the base cost of this attack, it does a 120 damage hit. So that's pretty good as a base attack for 2 energy. We can accelerate much higher. Obviously, we have access to Welder and all sorts. Normally, we'd say we've got access to Volcanion, but this deck doesn't play it. Instead, we have a 4-4 Salazzle line with Roast Reveal. So we're going to try and draw through a lot of the cards in our deck and slowly power up a couple of Centiskorches that are powerful enough to take down pretty much anything. So remember, you don't need to always go hard into one Centiskorch. You don't need to Volcanion into one Centiskorch. You can power up a couple, and that can make it very, very difficult for other decks to win. When it comes to other Pokemon, we've got the 3-3 line, we've got the 4-4 Salazzle, Salandit Salazzle line. We also have one copy of Crobat, and also one copy of Dubwool V. That's the rest of our Pokemon. There's not a lot going on here. We are committed to hitting into our opponent's Pokemon with Centiskorch VMAX. Dubwool V good for Revenge Blast. In the late game, we can potentially deal a pretty significant hit for about 270 damage, I believe it is, with Revenge Blast. And if we come up against something like not Salamence, what am I talking about? What's it called? Oh my goodness, Zamazenta, there it is. Then we can just take a knockout with Burning Train with Centiskorch V. The basic can still attack. That is our Pokemon line. Let's look at the items now. We've got Pokemon Search and Quick Ball, but that's pretty much it. There's 2 Evo Incenses here. You would think that we'd normally see more than that, but that is all that we really need. We just get those basics down. Eventually, we will draw into the VMAXs or the Salazzles that we need, so there's no need to search for those. We also have one Pokégear, which is just a nice little bit of a buffer in case we need it. We have one Pal Pad to shuffle some supporters back in. We've got one Switch. Whatever we get in the active, we're happy to stick there. Yeah, there's just these little one-offs throughout the deck just to give you a little bit of extra oomph when you need it. There are 2 reset stamps, so you can slow your opponent down, and there are 4 Fire Crystals. We're going to burn through a lot of energy with Salazzle, so Fire Crystal is a really, really good card in this deck, as is Giant Hearth. We can play 4 of these as well. Discard a card. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Just breathed in too much air into my lungs. Oh boy. I'm not going to stop though. We're going to keep going. We got 2 fire energies when we discard a card from our hand with Giant Hearth, and then that can obviously link in nicely. We have one other Stadium. Wondrous Labyrinth Prism will reduce the effectiveness of our opponent's attacking. We can increase the attack cost by all non-fairy attacks by an extra colorless energy. So since there are no fairy Pokemon flying around at the moment, this is a obviously very powerful card, and it's not going to affect us too much because we're most of the time going to have extra energy on our Centiskorch. This is where the deck gets really interesting. It's in the supporters. We have 4 Welder, obviously. It's a Welder deck, so we're going to see that. But we also have 4 copies of Sonia. So on turn 1, we've got 8 supporters that are really, really good for us. Sonia can find 2 basic Pokemon, put them onto the bench, which is really, really strong. We can find Salazzle, we can find Centiskorch, we can even find Crobat, because it goes into our hand before they go onto the bench. Or, if we're in the late game, we can grab a couple of energies with it as well. Maybe our opponent has removed our stadium, or we just need some extra energy. Sonia can do the job there. There are also 2 Marnies in the list to shuffle draw, as well as 2 copies of Boss's Orders for Gust. There's also 1 copy of Lieutenant Surge in this deck, because Centiskorch sometimes has a habit of falling behind. So Lieutenant Surge can push us into some extra territory, getting more supporters than we are really allowed to use. Lieutenant Surge lets us play 3 in a turn. We can play Surge, then maybe play 2 Welder. How good would that be to accelerate 4 energy in a turn? We can play Sonia to get the energy, and then Welder to accelerate. Or we can even play our 1 copy of Jessie and James, and this can be really, really good, especially if your opponent's gone down to 1 or 2 cards, or if you've been able to reset stamp them down to a low hand size. Jessie and James can sometimes completely ruin your opponent's hand, remove all of the cards that they need, and force them to make discards that are very awkward. Normally for us, it's not that big of a deal. Like, Sonia's only useful so many times. Jessie and James can discard a couple of those. It's not a massive problem. This has not been the best explanation of the deck, but I think the best explanation will be in the gameplay. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. So I will jump across to PTCGO now, and we'll show off a couple of games with this deck. Hopefully it lives up to the billing as being a really, really powerful Centiskorch build. I can't even finish the final sentence. I can't even finish this sentence where I'm making a joke about... Just cut to the games. Alright, here we go. I've had a sip of water, so I am actually capable of figuring out what's going on now. We have won the coin toss, and we'll be going first, I think I chose. I did say in the deck profile section, it's probably better to go second, but old habits die hard, so I've clicked first. We probably shouldn't do that. This is a pretty solid hand, though. We have access to a Centiskorch and a Salandit out the gate. We also have a quick ball to go for Crobat if we want, so that is pretty good. We have Surge also, so we might be able to discard that potentially. Although, to be fair, the Centiskorch VMAX in our hand is probably more likely to get discarded. And it looks like we'll be playing in a mirror. I've got a Volcanion on our opponent's side of the field, and a Centiskorch, as well as a Heatran. So what we'll do is we'll just play this Crobat down here, draw some extra cards off the start. And that's pretty much going to do it for us. We've got Evo Incense, which is good. We can find Salazzle with that. The rest of the hand, though, not particularly great. Radiating Heat, not going to be particularly useful in this matchup, so I think we are going to need to just attack. We might just take a prize off of the Volcanion next turn, to be fair. Especially if they're weldering to the active. That is good news for us. Okay, so we're going to see a Volcanion Flare Starter. 3 energy you would think would go to that Centiskorch V on the bench. That means that when it becomes a VMAX, it could potentially get to 7 energy with a Welder and an attachment. What I'll do is I'll just evolve into my Centiskorch. I will use the Evo Incense. I'm going to grab Salazzle. I think now that I top deck the Giant Hearth, I am going to go for it because I can give myself a bit of flexibility here. We can get rid of the Surge because I'm not going to require that. Let's grab a couple of Fire Energies, and then we'll Roast Reveal. We'll discard a Fire Energy from the hand. No Welder, but that's okay. I can attach to the Centiskorch, and then I can boss out the Centiskorch V on the bench and get ourselves a little bit of extra damage here. Let's see. What is the number? What is the number? How many is it to get to 320? I can never remember. 320 is 8. 8 modifiers. So if they welder and attach, we are knocked out. So that's not good. We just have to hope that they don't welder and attach. There's an attachment. So that's 5. So they're doing 240 at the moment. They need an extra 2 to be able to get that knockout. Here comes Crobat looking for a welder off of these 3 cards. I might have put myself into an awkward position by playing down that Giant Hearth. I didn't have to do that. Because I would... yeah, I could have drawn... I would have drawn differently because I thinned the deck out. So it's not worth posturing on what could have and would have happened. The fact that a world hasn't come down already means that it is unlikely to happen. So that's really positive. We see a retreat here into Volcanion. So we might just see like another flare starter here. Okay, so now this turn it is really, really important for us to get another Centiskorch in play. So I will Pal Pad. I'll put the Boss and the Surge back into the deck. Then I will thin a Fire Energy to grab 2 more. There are no more energies left in my deck. Salazzle, I need you to hit me a Centiskorch, please. We've got a Sonia. Okay, we've got Salandit and Sonia. This is pretty good for us because we can grab ourselves Centiskorch and maybe a Dubwool. I think Dubwool seems fine. We'll play that Centiskorch down for sure. We will attach to it because I do need to get an attack off next turn. And then we will just take a knockout on the Volcanion. This will obviously accelerate energy, but it's not super relevant. We are going to get knocked out next turn. Fire Crystal is okay. Alright, so this looks like a pretty bad spot to be in, right? We don't have Centiskorch VMAX. We're about to have our only Centiskorch knocked out. But we have Fire Crystal, we have energy, we have Salazzle on the bench. All we need to do is find the VMAX and we should be okay. Although we need to deal 200 damage, I need 5 modifiers. So I might need to get a little bit lucky. No, I only need 4, sorry, because it's base 40. So I need to deal 200 damage. I need Welder and Attachment, as well as a VMAX. So I'm saying that it's not unlikely that it happens. It's not likely, but it's like a 50-50, I'd say. Based on absolutely no knowledge of the statistics, it is a 50-50 shot that we get a Welder onto this Centiskorch V on the bench. And the best bit for us is we actually haven't used Welder yet, so we're in a pretty good spot provided that we can get there. And our opponent doesn't have access to another attacker, which is also really, really good. So if we can get a big turn here, we should be okay to go on to win the game. Let's just discard one of these Giant Hearts. I know there's no energy in the deck. Let's just double check. Are there Welders? There are 4 Welders in the deck. We've just been incredibly unlucky. Let's Roast Reveal. We've got Fire Crystal in hand, so if we draw into Salazzle or Welder, we're good. We've got Welder, we've got Surge as well. Okay, so what we could do, let's grab some energy with Fire Crystal. We can Surge, then Welder to the active, and then hopefully we draw into what we need. If we don't, we've got another Welder as well. Okay, we've got a Salazzle. Cool. Let's Salazzle and Roast... Let's see. Because I kind of want to be greedy and stamp him to 3 and then Jessie James him. That would be so good. Let's Roast Reveal. We need to find access to our VMAX, which we do get. Beautiful. Let's Quick Ball. We'll get rid of a Giant Hearth. We missed the stamp, which is unfortunate. We might be able to get it off of another Welder. So let's just throw it down, because we need the extra damage anyway. And then we can throw down the VMAX, and we should be A-okay here. Let's just G-Max Centinferno. There's 200 damage. We'll accelerate 1. And now we are pretty much... I'd say this game is almost locked up. I wouldn't say that it's finished, per se. But the fact that we need to take 2 prizes and our opponent needs to take 3 is going to stand us in good stead. At the moment, we have game in hand. We have the Boss. Boss will be able to bring out pretty much anything on our opponent's side of the field and knock it out. We don't want to have the Volcanion stuck in the active. That is not ideal. What are we doing here? Just a Welder and an Attach. They are hoping that we don't have access to Boss here by the looks of it. Let's see. What is the go? What is the go, my good friends? Just a pass. Excellent. Well, there we go. We managed to win. Good stuff. We will attach to the active and then boss out the Eldegoss because I want to deal as much damage as I can. We will Gmax Centinferno for a measly 560. And there you go. End up winning the mirror. It's over-committing to those Centiskorch VMAXs, right? Shouldn't do it. Alrighty, let's play another one. We'll see whether we can get the coin flip here. We lose this one. So that's okay. We are at the beck and call of our opponent here. It looks like we will be going first again. This hand looks a little bit better. I don't want to say it's good, but it looks better. We have Sonia, which is cool, because next turn we could grab a couple of energy if we want them. Looks like we'll be going up against Charizard VMAX. So this will be a very interesting game here. We'll have two big Fire-type VMAXs trying to take knockouts, and we've got a couple of mulligans as well. That's really good news for us. We have got access to a couple of quick balls. This is beautiful. I think what we'll do is we'll quick ball away the Dubwool, and I will grab another Centiskorch. Only 2 Vs in the deck. That's a little bit unfortunate. I will then quick ball the Switch. I don't think we're going to need that. I'll grab Salandit. We can play that down. Play down the Centiskorch VMAX, and then just pass, just in case we find a welder or something like that. I don't know if I want to commit to having to use the Sonia. We'll wait and see. I don't think I ever get a knockout on Charizard V next turn regardless. And he's just passed. Okay. Oh, I got a welder. Alright, so I'm going to play down the no, we'll just welder first. We just welder first. This is fine. Okay, we've got a couple of Salazzles here. That was incredibly lucky. I should have just Salazzled. I don't know why I didn't do that. Let's just chuck this energy into the bin. We'll grab a few more. We've got access to Fire Crystal, so we could grab another energy out of the deck if we want. Now, we can either use Salazzle with this energy, or we can just attach it to a Centiskorch and hit into this Charizard. I really like the sound of that. I don't necessarily need to get extra cards this turn. What I will do, though, is I will keep thinning. We'll grab the Centiskorch VMAX and chuck that onto the bench. Our board is pretty much set up. We can Gmax Centinferno now, half hit, and hopefully next turn we are okay. We will be able to Sonia for 2 energy, which means 6 cards, right? So Sonia just draw 6 cards next turn, which is really, really good. So hopefully everything works out here. You can see the combination, right? Sonia grabs a couple of energy, the Salazzles discard them, they get accelerated with Gmax Centinferno. It's a really, really cool combo, and Stefan doesn't, like, he's one of the world's best players, but he doesn't get enough credit for his deck building. He's an incredibly talented deck builder. So definitely consider jumping on Twitter and following him if you can. Let's grab those 2 fire energies now. I will probably just roast reveal one. We'll see what happens. No, let's not commit to anything. Oh, I got a second one. So let's get rid of another, and then we can manually attach if we like. Look at that. We just keep getting extra energies. Bang. There's a knockout. So 2 prizes for us. This is going to be a pretty cruisy game, but I'll probably still keep it in because it shows off how versatile Sonia is. Because lots of people will probably be like, why do you use Sonia? Sonia's such a bad card. But it's not. It's actually really, really good in this deck for situations exactly like that, right? You don't need to do any more than half hit a Pokemon, and yeah, and it gives you access to 6 cards, which is just silly. In fact, I might consider doing it again next turn. If the boss wasn't in my hand, I'd probably just boss out the Charizard V. Probably, but you never know. You never. Oh, well, we're getting reset stamped, so there goes that idea. Stamped to 4. Probably not a bad idea from our opponent, trying to slow us down a little bit. We have Giant Hearth, though, so that's pretty good. I can get rid of the VMAX or the Salazzle or the Quick Ball, to be fair. None of these cards are particularly useful to me right now. We'll get rid of the VMAX, because I know there's only 2 Vs in the deck. Then we will roast reveal, draw some extra cards. We are never out of it here. I think we just keep roast revealing. Keep roast revealing. We find the boss, but we don't. I don't know if we've got enough here. I think we're only doing 200. That's very disappointing. That's alright. If it turns into a VMAX, then we will be fine. So it's not a problem. Plus, we've got Welder on the benched Centiskorch as well. I can't remember exactly how much HP Charizard VMAX has. We could actually see Charizard VMAX coming out this turn, depending on the situation, because he could Welder and attach, which would get a 300 hit from Charizard VMAX, but it would require a pretty busted cards in hand, like need Welder, Double Fire, Charizard VMAX, and Triple Excel to get that attack off. Here comes a switch, so it's not going to be happening. We'll just see an attachment onto the Salamence V, and then a Flare Starter. Yeah, this game is over because our opponent hasn't done anything for a long time. Let's put a Welder and a Boss back with the Pal Pad. I will probably get rid of a Hearth, find some more Fire Energy. We only have 2 left, so it could be worth Weldering these, but no, I'm just going to run through with Roast Reveal. I'll find a Fire Crystal eventually. Let's Quick Ball, get rid of a Salazzle. I'm going to grab this Crobat just in case. And then we can... Let's just Welder the last one. Let's not be silly. Oh, Fire Crystal, beautiful. Let's be silly. We probably could have Roast Revealed then, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll attach once, and then yeah, let's Roast Reveal one more time. Give ourselves some extra cards. This is just obnoxious. What is happening here? I can even play down the Wonder Lab and G-Max Centinferno for the knockout. I am looking for one boss to pretty much wrap this game up if it wasn't wrapped up already, especially if a VMAX comes down, and that looks like what our opponent is going to try and do here. So it looks like Salamence V into the active. Here is the VMAX. We have a Centiskorch with 6 energy on it already. We need 1 more energy to one-shot this VMAX. You can see why Centiskorch is such a potent attacker. It is one of the only cards in the game at the moment that can consistently take one-shots against big VMAX Pokemon. If you are playing against Centiskorch, then do not sleep on it. Let's just... I do need just the 1 extra energy. I've got the extra energy. Let's just play some cards. We'll see what happens. Let's see. We can grab a boss. We can grab a Jessie James. Don't mind a Jessie James. I'll just get rid of my opponent's cards. I feel like I just discard 2. I shouldn't be doing this. This is just mean. This is just mean stuff. Just discard some more cards. Get rid of this Marnie. Call this styling. I probably shouldn't do it. Let's draw some more cards. Just draw some more cards and then G-Max Centinferno for the knockout. Take 3 prizes. I don't even know what I was looking for there. I was just playing them. It's like all these cards were highlighted and I was just like, I just want to keep playing Pokemon cards, please. One more game. Alrighty, 3rd and final game. Unless this one's bad, in which case I'll do another one. But you won't know that. So, unless this game's good, in which case you'll have heard this. Maybe I should stop introducing games like that. We are up against Alex Kuma. And he is taking a long time to win the coin flip. We have won, and I've just done it again. I've just accidentally gone first again. Oh well, doesn't matter. We have a pretty solid start, to be fair. We have Centiskorch and 2 Salandit. We need an energy, though. I would really like an energy. So if I could grab one of those off of the top deck, that would be beautiful. Oh. I think I'm just going to pass now. Since I have an energy, I have Welder and energy. I'm not upset at accelerating with Welder next turn. Happy to do that. Zamazenta in the active is concerning. Means that I will need to be wary of that, depending, of course, on what my opponent is playing. More while, so this could potentially be ADP. They could be looking now to see whether or not I've thrown the game by not playing down a Crobat or something like that. If we are playing against ADP, this could be very, very interesting. Although Guzmahala doesn't strike me as an ADP kind of card. Unless it's like a tag call engine. 2 metal sources in the bin. Are you kidding me? Is whatever you're getting that important? Oh, wow. Okay. Big Charm coming down. We are up against something pretty lackluster, to say the very least here. There is not a lot of action on my opponent's side of the field. Meanwhile, we have access to Welder. We can accelerate 1 energy here. It's kind of hoping that I just draw into energy and a VMAX there. That's Radiating Heat. I'll get rid of no, I won't get rid of the energy. I'll just pass. Yeah, I was kind of hoping I just you know, draw into everything that I needed and attack. Obviously, I wouldn't have been able to take a knockout. Probably a good thing that I didn't get the VMAX, to be fair, because I probably would have just played it straight down in a cocky manner. That Aurora energy is not... They had Marnie and Research in their hand. They could have Marnied both of those metal sources back into the deck. Unless they just top deck Marnie, that seems like a really dodgy play. And they've got an ADP. Yeah, sad face, Alex Kuma. I'll give you the little heartbreak emoji there. This is uncomfortable to watch. And the Dedenne now, so ripping through. There was another energy acceleration card in Turbo Patch in there. This deck is not good. Well, it's not playing well. There goes an energy finally and a Zacian. So it could be that the slow pace of play that I am currently sitting in might potentially give my opponent a chance to get into the lead here. We will see. Found an energy, which is good. That means I can potentially attach and Marnie this turn. So I will do that. We'll see if I can get something good off of these 5 cards. We have a VMAX. We have an Evo Incense, which I think is actually pretty good. I can use this Evo Incense to try and grab a Salazzle. Obviously don't want the VMAX at the moment. We will use Roast Reveal, discard a Fire Energy, and then we are on our way. So this is really good. We can replace with Giant Hearth. That'll get discarded, but that's not a problem. We will play down the Salazzle, and then we Radiating Heat. And I'm kind of thinking that I might get rid of this energy. It's always awkward. I hate having to make the choice. Decide not to. Because, like, I could just get really hard punished. That Zamazenta could just, like, switch and then Turbo Patch or something. I don't know. Here it comes. He's already attached an energy to the ADP though, so it looks like it's just a retreat. If I hadn't discarded the energy, he wouldn't have been able to do that. And now we see the Arceus Dialga Palkia going for the GX attack. And a boss's orders as well onto Salazzle. That's really annoying. Okay, what is the game plan now? Oh, top deck the Fire Crystal. Yes, please. I just need to decide. I mean, I've got the Quick Ball, so I can use Crobat anyway. It's not a problem. Let's get rid of the Surge, and I can grab Crobat. Then we play down the Crobat. We draw some cards. No energy still, but we find the Switch, which is very, very good. I can find the energy with Fire Crystal. Then let's Roast Reveal. Since we've got the Switch, we can Roast Reveal. Hopefully we draw into a couple of other cards. Giant Hearth, very, very useful. I can use Giant Hearth, get rid of this Centiskorch, grab 2 more energies, and now I'm in a really, really powerful spot. I can accelerate to the benched VMAX. What else can I do here? I can attach. I can just switch into it and attach and attack. But that's not going to get me a knockout. Do I just Salazzle? My opponent only has 2 cards in hand, so we might potentially be in for a cheeky Jessie James play at some point if we choose to. I will attach to the bench Centiskorch though, because I am worried about that Zamazenta on the bench. I'm not a massive fan of that, so I don't want to get caught out. But the fact that he's used 2 Turbo Patch and 2 Metal Saucer already is really, really positive. Air Balloon and then Ultimate Ray. So we can get a knockout here on pretty much whatever we want if we find boss. I think the best thing to do is probably... Okay, let's gear. I'll grab Sonia, I guess. I will play that Sonia, actually, and grab a couple of energy cards. Could have just used Giant Hearth. Why don't I just use Giant Hearth? Ding-a-ling. Okay. Let's attach to the Centiskorch, and then G-Max. Centinferno, grab 3 prizes. I'm now 1 energy off these prizes away from being able to knock out the Zamazenta. So that energy is really good for me. Very, very happy with that one. So now, even if they get the knockout, we should be good to go. 130. Can they even get the knockout on the Zamazenta here? They're going to do 130 damage. We've got 180. They're going to do... Are they going to be stuck on 310? Are they seriously going to be stuck on 310? Well, I'll tell you what, guys. This game has had pretty much every... There's a Melodic in this deck as well. We could be screwed. I didn't play it down. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. That is perfectly acceptable. See a Metal Saucer onto Zacian, so we could see a retreat and a knockout. Assault Tackle on my... What's my... What? Oh, because the GX attacks happen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious me. What an embarrassing thing to have happened. Well, let's promote the Centiskorch. We really need to find something cool here. I desperately want to find access to Surge, because Surge could just win us the game. Well, there's Boss and Fire Crystal, so that's good. Let's go again. We will Roast Reveal, I think. Because we can't just knock out here. If we knock out, we get knocked out ourselves, so I'm not a big fan of that. We have Boss, so it's fine. The VMAX is good, so now we can boss the, well, Stamp, because he's got 2 cards left. So we can boss up the Zacian. Now he cannot win the game next turn, no matter how hard he tries. Us, though, we are probably going to struggle to win the game as well. Just thinking I could attach to Salazzle. How much do I need to do? I'll do 120, that wouldn't be enough. Let's just G-Max Centinferno. I'll hold these energies in my hand because I know that I'm getting the knockout. And hopefully we get something pretty good off of the prizes here. I'm looking for a boss. Boss would be great. No boss. Okay, so... 11 cards left. Well, there's one boss in the deck. It's either that or it's the last prize, which would be unfortunate. We now cannot Surge. Assault Tackle for 160 because of the GX attack, right? Because of the GX attack. Alright, let's see here. Can we find access to boss? Is it in the deck? Probably is. I should have checked. Roast Review. 10 cards. We're grabbing 6, right? We're going to see 6 cards. Ooh. Pal Pad. This is an interesting one, because if I Pal Pad the one boss back in, I increase the chances of finding boss, but also increase the chances of missing boss. Although if I put the Surge back in, I could get the Surge, which means I have access to Welder. We get neither of them. There's Welder. Wonder Lab. I could do that. Let's retreat. Can we just retreat? No. He's just... Because if we retreat into the Crobat, then next turn we guaranteed win the game. I'll just pass. He needs to find an energy or a stadium. Sorry, I'm recording a video. I completely forgot. I was just sitting in my own little world for a second there. This is not good. This is not good. Research. I am likely to see my Centiskorch knocked out here. I cannot believe that we missed that boss, though. Probably shouldn't have Pal Padded. Definitely shouldn't have, now that I'm thinking about it, because the Surge doesn't actually help because I was behind. I'm in front, sorry. In front on prizes, so definitely shouldn't have done that. Should have just kept going. It doesn't look like he's got an energy though. He's Crobatting for 2. He could be out if he's out of energy. Sad face. Oh my goodness gracious me. The Wondrous Labyrinth pulls through. We can boss out the Elder Goss. Here we go. G-Max Centinferno. I didn't deserve to win that one. ADP, that was such a badly performed ADP list, and it almost got me. So there you have it. That is Centiskorch in action. I really need to practice, I think. I'm not doing particularly good at the moment. I should probably just take a moment, just relax and play the game. But that's beside the point. Thank you everyone for your attendance. Hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, please consider subscribing and liking the video as well. That would be excellent. Really appreciate if this video got around to some more people. Jump on Twitter and follow Stefan as well. He's always a really insightful Pokemon player, so he's got lots of things to say, and every now and then he puts out pretty solid deck lists just like this one. I'm going back to some more Champions Path stuff tomorrow. Expect some more OP League. I've just found out that I'm playing against Little Dark Fury in the second round of that particular tournament, so check out that video when it comes out. It's coming out sometime this week. Thank you everyone for coming along. Subscribe over here. Watch the videos here. There's a playlist here. Do all that good stuff. And I will see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.